Hey guys, I've had a lot of requests for a fat loss video, and I wanted to just cover a couple of the fundamentals of fat loss and just some things that you should really take into consideration. Yeah, this might change your complete, perspective on what you think fat loss is or how to approach it. But for me, what I did was it was easy for me to just kind of outline a couple of the topics. I chose 5 specifically, which I'm going to refer to over here on my trusty whiteboard. But I chose 5 that I really just wanted to talk about and explain why I chose and how I've seen each of these things help people reach their fat loss goals. So I'm going to start over here with, there we go, nutrition. So nutrition, up top, number 1, the most important thing when you are approaching a fat loss goal is to nail your nutrition. And that could be in the form of tracking calories in MyFitnessPal, counting macros, protein, carbs, and fat. That could be just adopting some really effective, healthy habits surrounding nutrition. Eating to 80% full, for example, consuming half your body weight in ounces of water, eating protein at every meal, eating vegetables at every meal, consuming enough fiber. Either approach will work for fat loss, either one. If you want to track and get really diligent with the numbers, that'll work. If you want to focus specifically on adopting healthy habits, that will work too. So neither one is really superior to the other unless you're getting to a point where you really want to see your abs. You want to see, some bicep and tricep separation. You want to see more definition in your quads or your shoulders or whatever. Now, if you want to get really, see a little bit more of this detail of your body, you're going to have to become a little bit more detailed with your nutrition. So nutrition is number 1. I did put a couple points up here, up top. Consistency is number 1. It's super important regarding nutrition. So you can't have like 1 or 2 really good days and then like 2 really bad days and then 1 really good day and then assess everything at the end of that, week or whatever and go, oh, I didn't lose any weight. I was really good for those 2 or 3 days. What's going on here? This isn't working. Your lack of consistency and consuming too many calories on 1 or 2 days and then too few calories on 1 or 2 days, this type of situation right here will never help you. It will never help you. It doesn't matter what your excuse is. It doesn't matter what you think, how many corners you can cut or shortcuts you can take. A lack of consistency will kill your results straight up. So number 1 is nutrition. Unsexy piece of advice number 1 is nutrition. You gotta really focus on that. Put it first when you're starting a program. I will go over all of this, but a lot of times what people do is number 5 on my list is boring cardio. What people will often do when they're approaching a fat loss program and starting something is they'll put this up here and then nutrition gets bumped down the line and typically will be assessed last. And because it sucks, it's difficult to eat in a caloric deficit. It's difficult to burn more calories than you consume every day. You're dealing with feelings of hunger. Now you possibly have to start cooking for yourself. You have to meal plan and prep. You have to be very conscious of what you're putting into your mouth. So nutrition is the last thing people want to deal with. But if you put it number 1 and you go, okay, I'm facing reality, I will accept nutrition is important, and you put it first, you conquer it, master it, stay consistent, adopt good habits, track macros and calories, all those things on MyFitnessPal, whatever you want to do. This right here will take care of a large portion of the situation. You could possibly see a loss of consistently 2 to 3 pounds a week, every week if your nutrition is spot on. So nail that nutrition, get on it, accept it, and prioritize it. So number 2, I put as strength training. This is again something that is either missing from a fat loss program or it's like bumped down the line of priority. And it's spotty and inconsistent. People don't really value it or they don't understand how important it is. So I'm not gonna get like super in-depth about strength training in terms of like the physiological things that are happening in the body. But in a nutshell, you burn more calories at rest the more muscle you have on your body. So as you're building muscle, you become kind of this little metabolic machine. You're burning more calories at rest. And that's super important. You could be chilling on the couch and you're just kind of like burning up more calories than you otherwise would if you weren't strength training. It takes a lot of energy for your body to recover and regenerate after a strength training session, and especially if you're lifting heavier. And you know, in terms of like rep ranges and sets and things like that, you know, that's going to be for a later video, or definitely do your own research and experimentation with that. But I'm not going to get super in depth with strength training, but it has to be in your program. And what I did was I recommended duration and frequency. So, you know, strength training, 45 to 60 minutes a session. Don't really need to go less than, or shouldn't go less than 30 minutes. I think a 20-minute strength training session, depending on your goals and depending on what you're working, might be a little bit ineffective, but anything over an hour also might be unnecessary, again, depending on your goals. If you're a competitor, if you're on some higher level here, I'm not really speaking to you. I'm speaking really to the average fat loss person here, somebody who just wants to see great results with the routine that they're putting together. So 2 to 5 times per week, minimum 2. And you can even kind of bookend these in your week. You could do like a Monday session and a Thursday or Friday session, if that's really all you have the time for. But what I would do if I could only hit twice a week, I go upper body, I go lower body on those 2 days. Ideally, you want to hit upwards of 3 to 5 days. You could even go 6. For most people, you do need a day of rest, but you know, the more you lift weights, the less sore you will be. And I know most people really enjoy the soreness they feel after a workout, and they think, oh, I got such a great workout, I'm so crippled I can't walk, I'm so sore I can't walk down the stairs. And we kind of put, you know, we correlate those two and go, oh, that workout must have been so good. And maybe it was, probably was, if you're, you know, you're feeling it the next day. But even if you're not sore, that's not an indication that you had an ineffective workout. So don't always assume because you're so sore that you can't walk that you had this amazing workout, especially if your recovery isn't on point and you're not getting enough good nutrition and you're not getting enough sleep and things like that. So yes, it feels great to be sore, but if you're in this for the long haul and you're strength training the rest of your life, you don't want to walk around sore every week and be unable to live a normal life. It's not realistic, it's not sustainable to feel so sore every day. And the way you eliminate that soreness or minimize it is you lift more frequently. So more often throughout the week, something more around the 3 to 5 days a week kind of range. Again, depends on your goals, depends on your time, things like that. So the other important thing to reiterate about strength training is when you're building strength in your entire body, you're building a more capable, resilient body. You know, there's been a lot of research done on the benefits of strength training for people who have Parkinson's, MS, you know, people who are, or even you know, paraplegic and things like that, and how just the amazing neurological benefits of strength training, and how it can just ward off illness, disease, and it is good for the heart. You know, it's a great way to strengthen bones, especially for women in perimenopause, menopausal stages where bone density decreases and osteoporosis becomes a real problem. And to stay off medication and to make sure those bones are staying nice and strong, you've got to get some resistance going on, some resistance training, strength training specifically. I'm a huge fan of free weights. Most of my clients know that. Free weights, barbells, dumbbells, master those movements, and you know, that's really all you need. I'm not a huge fan of machines, so that's definitely not what I recommend working towards. So, you know, get with a coach, invest in your health, and learn how to do this so, you know, you can build a strong, capable body that's super resilient to injury, illness, and disease. So strength training number 2, get it up in that routine, bump it up higher if you're already working out. Metabolic conditioning, something like boot camp style classes where you're incorporating resistance training, body weight, heart rate's coming up, doing, you know, push-ups with kettlebell swings and battling ropes and sprinting and pushing a sled and all these amazing, fun, diverse exercises that you're grouping all together in one workout. Super important. Right here's a calorie burning situation. Strength training is as well, But the after effects of strength training are typically the most important, not necessarily during the session. You know, if you're a 130-pound woman, you may only burn 150 calories or even less than that in a strength training session, depending on what you got going on. Leg days are a little bit higher calorie burn. But fat loss isn't all about the calorie burn. You should control fat loss with number one, nutrition. So don't think, oh, I had this huge calorie burn. A lot of times you could be delaying fat loss when you're trying to get some sort of 600-700 calorie burn. That doesn't equal fat loss. So, you know, pay attention to that, understand that. With metabolic conditioning, what I did was recommend 45 to 60 minutes per session. Doesn't need to go longer than 60. I think if you're taking longer than 60 to complete a Metcon workout, you're probably not working hard enough. It's not as intense as it otherwise could be. You don't need to go longer than that. So push hard within that time. You know, you could even go 30 minutes. If that's all the time you have, that's perfectly fine. 1 to 3 times per week. So again, don't want to overdo it, don't want to go crazy, but 1 to 3 times per week right here. Number 3, I put yoga as number 4, 30 to 60 minutes. Cool thing about yoga is you can get on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. Get up in the little search box and just type in yoga workout, and you'll get tens of thousands of videos that pop up. And you could sit in your living room and you could do yoga every single day. 20, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever you want to do. You don't have to pay for a class. You don't have to hire an instructor unless you want to, unless you want to go to a different level with your yoga. Absolutely, that's your decision. But if that's not something you can invest in right now, don't worry about it. You know, hit up yoga in your living room 2 to 7 times per week. I said 7 times per week because yoga is one of those things where you're probably not going to be super sore afterwards. It's not going to deplete you too much. And the mental benefits that you're going to reap from yoga are amazing. And they're going to lower stress levels. They're going to lower cortisol. They're going to improve flexibility, improve your grounding, your focus and concentration. And, you know, all of these mental benefits you're getting from yoga are going to really help you with, you know, stress eating and emotional eating and those kind of things where, you know, you need to be addressing the root of the problem. And doing extra cardio to undo a binge or a surplus of calories is ineffective for fat loss. But if you find that you're an emotional eater and you're having a difficult time getting control of that, incorporate something like yoga and meditation, you know, something where you're able to really go inward and focus on yourself. Focus on compassion and patience. And, you know, be kind to yourself throughout this process as well. So there's a lot of emotional and mental benefits to yoga that assist in reducing stress and things like that, and which can work against you, you know, believe it or not. Like your mind, your mental state is so important to your fat loss goals. So never underestimate this. And, you know, if you're new to yoga or you've never tried it before, my challenge to you is to sign up for a yoga class or get on YouTube and Google yoga and do a little 20-minute, 30-minute stretching routine and see what you think. You know, have an open mind and make sure you're safe and don't twist yourself up and injure yourself. But you know, give it a shot. Don't judge it before you try it, and definitely don't just try it once and go eh. Give it a couple tries. I think you'll enjoy it. So I put the thing that everybody does first, typically when they want to start fat loss. I put that thing last. And it didn't really have a place in my idea here, but I wanted to talk about it. So I put it there really just to have a talking point. And it's boring cardio. Boring cardio could be anything, the treadmill, the elliptical, and other shit you hate doing. I just erased it, but other shit you hate. So, you know, people oftentimes think that they need to go kill themselves on this kind of thing and just burn off all the calories they just consumed, and they put it first. And nutrition comes last, strength training comes down here, if at all, if it's even here, or Metcons first, and boring cardio second. And so, in my opinion and experience, the experiences I've had with my clients over the years, you know, research reading that I've done, this is typically the way you want to set things up for best results for fat loss. Now, if you're a competitor, a physique competitor, like a bodybuilder, or you're an endurance athlete, obviously I'm not talking to you. So boring cardio, if you're an endurance athlete, is a big part of your life probably. But I would recommend, if you are an endurance athlete and you're carrying a little bit extra body fat that you don't want to carry, I would recommend taking off a little time from your running or your biking and rearranging your routine to look something a little bit more like this, where you're focusing on the nutrition, the strength training, the Metcon, yoga, and then, you know, eliminate probably some boring cardio just for a short time so you can master these right here and start seeing a little bit of change in your body. Boring cardio, I did put over here 1 to 2 times per week or never. And the reason I put even suggested 1 or 2 times per week is like, this is like the very last thing you want to focus on. If you're plateaued, if you're hitting your strength training 2 to 3 times per week, your Metcon 2 to 3 times per week, your yoga, you know, 3 to 5 times per week, your nutrition is spot on, and you're like looking in the mirror going, I still can't see my abs. I still want to decrease a little body fat around my quads. You know, I'm not there yet. I'm not there, and I don't actually, you know, for whatever reason, can't get to another Metcon class or can't get here. Go for a walk. Include some walking into your week. You know, if that means going for a walk in your lunch hour, meeting up with a friend, talking, catching up. That's the first thing I recommend over like getting on the treadmill or the elliptical. Get your ass up and go for a walk. And that would be your boring cardio. There's so much you can do with just, you know, focusing on these things up here. So that's where you should put your focus. If fat loss is a goal, building that strong, capable body, you know, incorporating good routines, good habits with your nutrition, staying consistent with your nutrition, getting in some relaxation, stress relief type exercises like yoga and meditation. This is what I would do. You know, if you're new to fitness and fat loss is a goal of yours, don't overcomplicate things. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Pills and cleanses and quick fixes and bullshit are not going to be helpful to you. They're going to confuse you. They're going to delay the process. And it's going to be such a waste of your time. Whereas if you just break things down like this and focus on the hard stuff first, the hard stuff is nutrition. I 100% believe the most difficult thing about fat loss is getting into a caloric deficit and dealing with hunger and fatigue in the initial stages. And that's where most people give up. They throw in the towel because it's not comfortable. Because we've been promised the quick fix stuff where, you know, it should be easy and it should be fun and it is fun. A lot of it is very, very fun once you get into that routine and you have more energy and you feel good and you have more confidence, you know, especially if you join a group. You know, anything like that where you're working alongside people who support you, because, you know, we all have days and times where our nutrition, you know, gets boring and our workouts are uninspiring, and waking up in the morning and doing the same thing day in and day out gets boring. It's great to have the support of somebody else who's working on those same goals with you and making sure that you are in turn offering that same support to them. So this is where I start. If fat loss is new to you and you want to get on track, this is where I recommend beginning. And I hope this was helpful to you, no matter where you're at in your journey with fat loss. I hope you got a couple new ideas, or just made, you know, things were made a little bit more clear, and maybe it changed your perspective on how things should be. And that's cool too. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share if you want. Ask questions. If you have any questions, ask me. I'm always happy to help. I want you to be successful. That's what this is all about, is just, you know, making stuff easy and clear. And then now it's your job. Now you got to do the work. So thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.